제발 살려주세요. 제 딸이 많이 아픕니다.
살고 싶으면 내 말 들어. 반드시 이 게임을 끝내야. 왜 나만 살려둔 거야? 대답해! 쏘라고 이 새끼들아! 왜 나만 살려둔 거야?
이번 게임은 두 조로 나뉘어 진행됩니다.
This is the final part of Squid Game. Finally, we will understand the story and what happened. In the last part, we learned that our hero, Gi-hun, returned to the game disguised and decided to participate to take revenge on its owners and reclaim the rights of all the people who died. But unfortunately, he trusted the wrong person. And contestant number 1 turned out to be the manager and mastermind, disguised initially. He decided to participate in the game with them, but he returned to his true self. Let's continue the events. The contestants who were helping Gi-hun are forced to surrender because their weapons ran out of ammunition. They ask the guards to forgive them, but unfortunately, the guards finish them off one by one, without any mercy. Even the painter, the father of the sick girl who entered the game to try to win money for her surgery, was also seriously injured. The guard approached him and finished him off, but secretly told him a proverb: "You are dead. Close your eyes." They put him in a coffin to transport him, but they mark him with a strange sign from outside to take his organs. This means he is still alive, and we understand that Si-yeon did this because she knew him before entering the game and decided to risk her life to save him, all for his daughter, not for him. She goes to talk to the rest of the guards and pretends that she has become one of them and agrees with what they are doing. She allows them to take the bodies they want, but asks them about the place where they perform the operations. They are surprised because she was refusing what they were doing. The guard tells her, "Okay, since you're one of us now, we're all in the same boat, and I'll even tell you the place." She reassures him that she needs money and doesn't want anything else, and she will keep the secret. But in reality, she wants to know the place to try to save the painter and anyone else still alive there. After that, the guards carry a large coffin as if it were a gift and return it to the other contestants. They are surprised by what happened. They approach it scared, and when they open it, we are surprised to find our hero, Gi-hun. They think he's dead, but the girl who was Special Forces approaches him and discovers that he is still alive. She asks the contestants to help her, and they carry him to lay him on a bed and try to treat his injury. At that moment, we see Hwang, who is on the ship, and he discovers that one of the guards has disappeared. He begins to investigate the matter, but the captain goes to him and tells him that he must have been drunk and unconscious and must have fallen off the ship because the waves were high yesterday. And of course, dear viewer, in the previous part, the captain, as we knew, is a traitor and part of the Squid Game. And he was the one who finished off the guard because he discovered his truth. He lies to him and tells him that he saw him standing on the ship's railing. But as we know, he is a traitor. Hwang wants to look for the guard because he has hope that he might be alive or at least find his body. The captain gets nervous from his words and tells him that the waves must have thrown him far away and asks him to forget about him and continue the mission. Hwang begins to suspect him, but he has to listen to him. And indeed, we see the guard's body on the island. After that, Gi-hun is asleep and dreams of everything that happened to him and his friends. The voices keep repeating in his head. He wakes up startled, and when he opens his eyes, he finds the old woman and the rest of the contestants standing in front of him, all to check on him. They are happy that he is still alive and help him get up from the bed, but he is devastated by what happened. The first thing he does is look for his friends who were with him on the mission, but he doesn't find any of them. He learns that the game owners ordered the guards to finish them off as punishment for trying to escape the place. He feels guilty because he was the cause of what happened and begins to go into a state of shock. At that moment, a group of guards enters and presses the vault button, increasing the money. They inform them that 35 contestants died because of what happened yesterday, and 60 players are still alive, so the total amount has reached 40 billion. They decide to hold a vote to see if they want to continue the game or withdraw and divide the money among themselves. Gi-hun breaks down and keeps shouting and asking them, "Why am I the only one you left alive?" He approaches them angry. puts the weapon to his head, and asks them to finish him off. "I broke the rules and tried to escape the game. Why did you leave me?" But the guards stop him, return him to his place, and even shackle him. He keeps crying because he feels guilty and can't forget what happened. The manager watches him from the screen, enjoying it because he managed to break his resolve and make him wish for death. He decides to keep him alive to amuse himself more and see his reaction and whether he will try to be a hero and save the other contestants or surrender. Suddenly, he receives a call from the ship's captain who tells him that Huang and his team are close to finding their island. "I tried to delay them, but that's my limit." The manager tells him that if he can't delay them anymore, he should finish them all off. The games on the island must end first, and they all must leave. The captain asks him, "What about the detective?" He tells him to finish him off too. He decides to make a decision for the sake of the game and orders them to finish them all off if they try to find his location. After that, the voting in the game begins, and the guards ask Gi-hun to start and choose whether he wants to continue the game or withdraw, but he is literally in a state of shock, seeing nothing and feeling nothing. He is living in his sorrows and doesn't feel like doing anything. He stays sitting on the ground, and the guard gives him a deadline and counts to 10. When he refuses to participate, he declares that he abstained from voting and his vote is no longer counted. The other contestants begin to vote, and the first one goes, but greed blinds her. She chooses to continue the game because she still needs money. At that moment, the guard goes to talk to the manager and informs him that a large number of guards died in the attack. The manager asks him to put workers in their place and warns him to be careful because he doesn't want any mistakes. He informs him that the game owners and the rich people are about to arrive to watch the final games. After that, the guards begin to dispose of the bodies of the dead contestants and put them in coffins and distribute them. Si-yeon goes with the group who trade in organs to find out where they do that. The guard is impressed by her talent because she is a professional sniper and asks her where she learned that and why she participated in the game. But she refuses to tell him anything and tells him that when the game ends and they leave, she will tell him what he wants. We return to the contestants, and unfortunately, 41 of them choose to continue the game, and only one chose to withdraw, which means that the games will continue. The guard asks them to rest because they will start the new game tomorrow. One of the greedy contestants goes to talk to Gi-hun and thinks that he intended to do that. He thinks that he planned to get rid of his contestant friends to increase the prize money and win the game. They accuse him of being a spy from the game owners and keep mocking him and thanking him because the money increased, and a large number of contestants who wanted to withdraw from the game died, which means that they are now the majority. Gi-hun hears them but remains silent because, unfortunately, he is shocked and can't comprehend what happened to his friends. The fortune teller contestant goes to talk to him and pretends that she knew what would happen and tells him, "I warned you, the spirits around you told me." She tells him, You are the cause of what happened to them. Your dead friends do not forgive you, and you will keep hearing their screams while you sleep." At that moment, Gi-hun gets angry from her words and can't control himself. He approaches her, angry, and with anger in his eyes, he chokes her and wanted to F-einish her off. But the contestants stop him and save him from her at the right time. After that, the guards who trade in organs prepare to do so with the painter, and suddenly, Si-yeon enters, and they are scared when they see her, but the guard reassures them that she is now with them. He takes off his mask and tells them that they are all in the same boat and must trust each other to get out of here alive. Si-yeon is forced to do the same and also takes off her mask, and they are surprised that she is a small, beautiful girl. The guard asks her to come closer to watch and learn what they will do, but suddenly she grabs the weapon and threatens them to move away, or she will finish them off. At that moment, everyone is surprised by what happened. One tries to attack her, poor things, thinking she's a girl who doesn't know who is in her hand. She has a machine gun. She escapes from them and marks all of them. She slides on the ground and shoots one with the pistol and finishes him off, and in less than a second, she defeats the second. She approaches the guard who was bullying her, and she is angry. She tells him that she escaped from the army because her commander was like him, and she gives him one in the middle of his head and sends him to the lobby. The only one left alive is the doctor, and he is scared and begs her not to do anything to him because they were forcing him to do so. But she asks him to save the painter's life and threatens him that if anything happens to him, he will also die. We return to the contestants, and it's time for lunch, and the guards begin to distribute food to them in turns. We see the bully, Thanos' friend. Yes, dear viewer, if you've forgotten him, this is him. And he begins to impersonate Thanos again and continues the game, as if he has his necklace too. At the same time, the pregnant girl goes to eat, but her old lover stops her and offers her his food. She is surprised by his attention, but knows that he is exploiting her. Gi-hun remains silent on the ground, and the contestants feel sorry for him. The old woman starts talking to him, trying to comfort him and console him, and gives him a part of her food and water. She asks him to eat so he can continue, but he refuses and remains silent. She goes to the Special Forces girl and apologizes to him for trying to bring him ammunition and failing. But the old woman's son tells her that she did her best, and that the cowardly contestant was the one who took the ammunition and was afraid to deliver it. Gi-hun hears them, but remains silent and distracted. He sees the cowardly contestant eating and is annoyed by him because his friends died because of him. At that moment, Huang reviews the map and marks the islands he searched, and only a few are left. Suddenly, the leader's assistant enters and asks to speak with him. He asks him about his relationship with the captain and how he knows him. Huang tells him that he was injured, fainted, and fell into the sea, and the captain found him and saved his life. But the assistant suspects him and informs him that he heard the shouting on the ship yesterday, and when he went out, he saw the captain holding a screwdriver. He suspects that he is a spy and that he finished off their dead colleague. Huang is surprised by his words, but doesn't believe him and tells him that he trusts the captain because he saved his life, and asks him to go to sleep and not talk about the matter again. The assistant apologizes to him and has to listen to him, and we see Gi-hun, who stays awake all night. And when day breaks, the guards wake up the contestants. The cowardly young man gets up and opens his eyes, surprised that Gi-hun is looking at him and focusing on him. He feels embarrassed and is afraid to face him. It's time for the fourth game, and the contestants begin to go to the game area, but they are shocked by what they see. They are surprised that the guards have hung the rest of their colleagues to warn anyone who does the same. The cowardly contestant feels guilty because he was the cause of what happened to them, and Gi-hun keeps looking at him, promising them that he will take revenge. The contestants arrive at the place where they will play, and the guards inform them that they will be divided into 2 teams and ask each one to choose a ball. Each one begins to choose a ball with red or blue. Unfortunately, the old woman and her son are separated. The pregnant girl and her lover are also separated. And of course, our friend Gi-hun is unfortunately the last contestant and gets the red color. At the same time, Dr. Ping succeeds in treating the painter's injury, but he tells Si-yeon that his condition is critical and now needs blood. Fortunately, her blood type is special and can be given to any blood type, so she tells him to take from her. The doctor approaches her to do so, but she warns him and tells him that if he thinks of playing with his tail, he will lose his head. We return to the contestants, and the guards inform them that they will now play hide and seek and ask the blue team to hide, while the red team will look for them within half an hour. And of course, the red team is required to kill 1 person from the blue team to survive. Everyone is surprised by what they heard, because this means that half of them will live, and the other half will die. The guards distribute keys to the blue team and explain that they can use them to open doors and enter them, but they cannot return from them again, because the open door will not close. At the same time, they distribute knives and weapons to the red team to use them and finish them off. Both teams are scared because the red team will have to finish off their friends, and the blue team will try to hide. But before the game starts, the guards give both teams a chance if anyone wants to switch roles with someone else. The contestants are scared, especially the coward, because Gi-hun is on the red team and has a knife, and he thinks he will finish him off. At that moment, he decides to start a new search operation and rides the ship with his guards. He has a new one to help them in the search, and the captain pretends to be kind and tells him to wear a life buoy. Poor guy. This kind-hearted captain. Suddenly, Huang receives a call from the assistant who suspects him. You'll ask me, dear viewer, suspects whom? I'll tell you, the pig captain. He tells him that he will not come with him and will look after him first and warns him to be careful of him. I must discover his truth because my instinct has never been wrong. He goes to meet one of the gang members and informs him that their leader died because of Squid Game and tells him everything. We return to the contestants, and everyone who doesn't like their team starts looking for someone to swap with before the game starts. The bully goes to talk to the poor young man and tells him that he is a coward and will not be able to kill anyone to provoke him. He asks him to gather his courage to win the game and warns him that if he remains a coward, he will finish him off himself. The pregnant girl is on the red team, and her lover goes to plead with her and asks her to swap with him, but she refuses. He tells her that she will not be able to harm anyone, and it is better for one of them to stay alive. And he promises her that when she swaps with him, he will protect her. He will finish off all the contestants and look for her and the baby in her womb to protect them. But she feels that he is deceiving her and refuses and tells him that she is willing to do anything to protect her son. At the same time, the old woman's son goes to talk to his mother. He asks her to give him the knife and swap with him because she is kind. You will never harm anyone, and I will try to harm anyone to come to you. But she refuses and tells him that she will swap with someone else so that both of them are on the same team. But he tells her that the contestants will take advantage of her being old and unable to run or escape and finish her off. He convinces her to give him a knife so he can defend her. At the same time, the pig contestant tries to swap with Gi-hun, but he looks at him with anger in his eyes, and the contestant is scared by his gaze and leaves him and runs away. On the other side, the cowardly contestant tries to swap with a girl and promises her that he will protect her and do anything to keep her alive. The most important thing is to swap with me, but she is nervous and scared. He shouts and tells her to hurry up, and when he loses hope, he leaves. He looks at our hero and finds him still looking at him. He gets angry, takes his things, and goes to him, telling him, I am not guilty of what happened. You are the reason. You made a stupid plan, and they all died because of you. The guard is forced to move them away from each other because the game is about to start and asks the blue team to prepare to hide. The contestants begin to enter to look for a place to hide. At that moment, the old woman decides to swap with her son. She asks him to try to hide with the contestants until he finds her and protects her, but she reassures him that she will be fine. She tells him that she has a secret weapon to defend herself, and she means her hairpin. At the same time, the pregnant girl also believes her lover's words and goes to give him the knife and decides to swap with him in exchange for him protecting her. The contestants enter a place like a maze, and the guards give them 2 minutes to hide and start the countdown. One of the contestants suggests that instead of hiding, they should look for the exit, and then they will all stay alive. They are convinced by his words and decide to do so. Indeed, they split up, and each one goes in a different direction to look for the exit. He has a necklace with a key that opens the door. The pregnant girl feels tired and can't walk, and the old woman feels sorry for her and goes to check on her. The Special Forces girl sees them and decides to help them, and asks them to come with her to protect them. At the same time, the countdown ends, and the guards ask the red team to enter the maze, and Gi-hun is forced to enter with them. He is angry, and anger fills his eyes. He decides to take revenge on the cowardly contestant. At that moment, the painter wakes up, and the doctor is happy that he is still alive. But Si-yeon decides to finish him off, so he doesn't betray her. She wears the mask to hide her identity. She doesn't want the painter to know who she is. She goes to talk to him and asks him to listen to her so he can stay alive. She points to the dead guard's mask and asks him to wear it and pretend to be one of the guards so he can get out of here alive. After that, the red team enters the maze and the countdown begins. They are required to find the blue team within half an hour. They split up, and each one goes in a different direction to look for them. The old woman's son tries to find his mother to protect her, and Gi-hun tries to F in the cowardly contestant to finish him off. As for the bully, he takes a pill to help him focus. He offers the pregnant girl's lover to take one, but he refuses because he wants to stay focused and fulfill his promise to her. The contestants on the red team start wandering around, but it's a large maze full of many doors on different levels, upstairs and downstairs. One of them succeeds in finding one of the blue team. He enters a door and is happy and enters after him to F-einish him off. Gi-hun keeps looking for the cowardly contestant, not caring about anything, but the contestant sees him, gets scared, and hides from him. We see the con artist fortune teller, straight to the point. Dear viewer, pretending to have spiritual power. I hear the ghosts telling me to move from here. And behind her, there are some idiots, and she keeps walking, and they are going, I don't want to tell you where. A large number of contestants believe her, dear viewer, and decide to go with her and keep following her everywhere. The greedy contestant enters a room and tries to open its door with the key he has, but he can't, because the doors are of 3 shapes: a triangle, a circle, and a square, and each contestant has a specific shape. This means that they need 3 contestants with 3 different shapes to be able to open any door. Suddenly, one of the blue team enters, and when he tries his key, it opens, and they enter and hide. At the same time, the strong girl also finds a locked door and tries to open it, but she fails and notices that each door has a different sign: a circle, a square, and a triangle. She decides to use the pregnant girl's key, and indeed, they open it and enter, and she is happy because each of them has a different key, which means they can enter any door, dear viewer, as I said. The old woman and the pregnant girl decide to give her their keys so that she becomes the leader and responsible, and they will keep following her. They inform her that they trust her. At that moment, Gi-hun succeeds in finding the cowardly contestant and keeps running after him to catch him. The contestant is scared and tries to escape from him, and fortunately, he F-ins a door and manages to open it with the key, but he is surprised that it is a fake door, and if he enters it, he will fall from a high place. He is scared and doesn't know what to do, and feels that his end is near and closes his eyes. Gi-hun looks at his face and notices that it is not him, and it's just a contestant who looks like him and has the same haircut, so he allows him to escape. The old woman's son keeps looking for his mother, and suddenly he hears a scream and thinks it's her. But the guards announce the number of the dead contestant, and he is relieved that it's not her. He meets one of the red team and decides to cooperate with him. He sees the old woman but refuses to call her because he is afraid of her. The bully and his partner keep chasing a contestant, and when they spot him, they swing him. They manage to finish off a large number of contestants and are enjoying themselves and laughing, all to increase their winnings. The guards announce that they succeeded, and the pregnant girl hears her lover's name on the loudspeakers and knows that he won. At that moment, she is waiting for him to fulfill his promise to her and that he will come and protect her. Indeed, he keeps entering doors and looking for her to help her. But the bully mocks him and tells him that if he finds her, he will F-einish her off. At that moment, his lover gets angry and fights with him. He threatens him that if he comes near her, he will regret it, and tells him that the baby in her womb is his, and he will protect her no matter what happens. Suddenly, they hear a girl screaming, and he thinks it's his lover, but he is relieved that it's another one. The bully offers to help him, but on the condition that they keep killing the other contestants because he liked it. He tells him that if they do so, the red team will not find anyone to kill, and a large number of them will lose, and thus, the prize money will be more and more, and their chances of winning will increase. Her lover is convinced by his words and agrees. At that moment, we see the cowardly contestant escaping, but one of the red team sees him, corner him, and wounds him in his leg. But the contestant pushes him and throws him down the stairs on his head, making him lose consciousness. He decides to take his knife to defend himself and is injured and bleeding, but he endures the pain. After that, the pregnant girl and her team are forced to enter and hide in a room because her leg is injured and hurts her. She feels guilty and asks them to leave her and escape because she doesn't want to expose their lives to danger because of her. But the old woman refuses and decides to stay with her and asks the strong girl to leave them and look for the exit because they are a burden on her. Less than a quarter of an hour is left until the end of the game, and the strong girl is confused and doesn't know what to do. Suddenly, the pregnant girl feels unwell and knows that she is giving birth now. The old woman, of course, has experience, stays by her side, and helps her. At that moment, her son is looking for her and notices that there is a door with blood on it. He decides to enter to see her, but he finds a contestant hiding behind the door and begs him to leave him alive and reminds him that he helped him before in the game in the last season. Remember when we hid in the room together? So he feels sorry for him and decides to leave him, but the contestant deceives him and attacks him, throws him down, takes his knife, and tries to finish him off. But fortunately, one of the red team enters and stabs him in the back. The old woman begins to deliver the pregnant girl at the same time, but she keeps screaming in pain and is forced to put clothes in her mouth, all so that no one hears her voice. At the same time, we see the con artist fortune teller wandering in the maze, but she returns to the same place, and the contestants begin to suspect her. But she does her tricks and pretends to talk to the good spirits. She goes to a door and tells them that it is the exit, but when she opens it, she gets scared and leaves them and runs away. Suddenly, a large number of the red team come out. Yes, the bully and the pregnant girl's lover finish off the people who were following her. The guards announce that they succeeded, and the pregnant girl hears her lover's name on the loudspeakers and knows that he won. The fortune teller keeps running but bumps into the cowardly contestant and notices that her leg is injured and bleeding, and she refuses to walk with him because the contestants will surely find their location, so she is forced to enter another door, but she finds Gi-hun in front of her. She tries to scare him and tells him that if he comes near her, she will cast a spell on him and turn him into a frog. "Listen to me, I'm capable." But he knows that she is a con artist and approaches her, and she is forced to apologize to him. She tells him, "I am a liar. Oh, I know that you, by the way, want to get rid of the cowardly contestant and kill him because he betrayed you and didn't bring you the ammunition. He was outside just now, and his leg is bleeding. If you follow the blood trail, you will reach him." Indeed, he leaves her and decides to go to him and keeps following the blood to find his location. And this time, he is determined to finish him off. The fortune teller is happy that she escaped from him, but finds the cowardly young man behind her and asks her about the pregnant girl's location. And she is scared of him and thinks he wants to finish her off and leaves him. She enters a room and is surprised that there is an exit from the game. And she is happy and goes to open it. But she is surprised that it needs 3 keys: a circle, a triangle, and a square. This means that 2 people must help her. She goes out to look for them or look for the keys and sees a dead contestant and goes to take the key from him. But she finds that it is the same shape as the one she has. She feels frustrated and decides to draw a mark on the wall with blood to know the location of the exit and not get lost in the maze and return later. The greedy contestant tries to escape, but he finds the bully and his partner in his way, and he is scared of them and doesn't know what to do and has reached a dead end. He is forced to lie on the ground and cover his face with blood as if he is dead. He holds his breath and no one notices him. The bully approaches him and wanted to stab him with a knife to make sure, but his partner calls him to leave. After that, the fortune teller goes to him to take the key from him, but he opens his eyes, and she is surprised that he is still alive and tells him that she found the exit location, and he decides to go with her and asks her if she is sure of the way, but she deceives him and tells him, "Shame on you. I know the way, and the good spirits are helping me." The good spirits are down there, dear viewer. The arrow is there. At that moment, the old woman succeeds in giving birth to the pregnant woman, and she is happy and tells her that she gave birth to a beautiful girl. The mother is reassured and hugs her and promises her to protect her. But suddenly, one of the red team enters and takes advantage of the opportunity and tries to kill her, but the strong girl stops him and takes him out of the room and fights with him. Unfortunately, the contestant wounds her in several places, but she doesn't give up and endures the pain. She pushes him into another room and hits him and takes the knife from him. She manages to finish him off, and one of the red team sees her, but he is scared of her and leaves her and runs away because he knows she is strong and cannot stand against her. By chance, that room is the exit, and the strong girl tries to open the door with the 3 keys she has. And indeed, she succeeds and is happy and can't believe it, but she refuses to leave alone. She decides to return to the old woman and the mother and asks them to come with her to escape. But suddenly, the girl's lover comes from behind her. Unfortunately, he catches her off guard and stabs her in the back more than once until he finishes her off. And he doesn't know that she was the one who saved his lover. She was the one who sacrificed her life for her since then. He is surprised when he sees the child and is happy that he became a father. And the bully is afraid of harming her. So he closes the door on them and says that there is no one left and leaves. The old woman is sad about the strong girl and hugs her and thanks her for everything she did for them. She closes her eyes and bids her farewell, devastated by crying. She is forced to take the keys from her to get out of the game and tells the girl that they must escape quickly because this place has been discovered and many sounds came from it. The child's voice became distinct, and she decides to look for the exit and knows that, unfortunately, the strong girl was injured, so there must be a blood trail that leads them to the exit, and it is close by. At that moment, the fortune teller reaches the exit and manages to open the door, and she thinks she is safe, but the greedy contestant, as usual, betrays her and pushes her, takes the key, enters, and closes the door behind him. She breaks down and keeps pushing him and tells him that the spirits will take revenge on him, and because of that, the cowardly young man hears her and knows her location and enters to her again. He is hallucinating and unconscious because he took a pill. He imagines her as the bully who always mocked him, and he gets angry, and without realizing it, he stabs her in the stomach and keeps hitting her until he finishes her off. When he realizes what he did, he breaks down and sits on the ground crying. At that moment, Gi-hun finds the traitor contestant and enters the room after him and decides to finish him off. But the contestant is scared and keeps crying and apologizing to him and admits to him that he is a liar. "I never entered the army before, nor was I a Marine. Everything I drew was a lie. Everything I said since you saw me was a lie. I did that to be with you and live. I have always been a coward and afraid of weapons, so I can't return." He asks him to forgive him, and Gi-hun feels sorry for him and was about to leave him, but the contestant betrays him and attacks him, stabs him with the knife he had in his hand, and tells him, "You are the reason for what happened." He decides to finish him off, but Gi-hun defends himself and hits him, making the knife fall from his hand. The contestant tries to escape and pushes him down the stairs and runs away, but he reaches the fake room, and Gi-hun corners him and starts fighting with him and hits him, breaking his bones, throwing him to the ground, and decides to take revenge on him. He approaches him and keeps choking him until he finishes him off. At that moment, the old woman manages to reach the room with the exit, but suddenly, her son enters them. He wants to finish off the girl with her, but his mother stops him and tells him that she has just given birth and the child needs her. She decides to sacrifice herself for him and asks him to finish her off instead so he can win the game and continue to live. Both of them keep crying, but he refuses and pushes her. He attacks the girl before she leaves and decides to kill her, and he hears the child crying. He feels sorry for her and apologizes to her and tells her that he must do this. But suddenly, his mother comes from behind him, and the secret weapon she was telling him about, she used it now. He's surprised by what happened and asks her to leave quickly, but she refuses and decides to stay with him. Half an hour ends, and any contestant who was escaping will live, and the contestant who was trying to kill one of them and didn't kill will die. And among them is the old woman's son. The guards enter to him and bid him farewell, and all begin to carry the dead people and put them in coffins. But one of the red team was hiding and attacks a guard to take the weapon from him because he couldn't finish off any of the contestants who were wearing blue, but another guard comes from behind him and finishes him off. When they take off their masks, we notice that they are foreigners, and we learn that these are the rich game owners. They are the special guests who came to participate in the game themselves. They decided to participate to kill the contestants who lost and want to enjoy more. After, the contestants who won the game return to their accommodation, but the bully notices that his necklace is lost and asks his partner about it, but he refuses to answer him because he is worried about his lover and waiting for her to arrive to check on her first. The bully gets angry and wants to leave to look for the necklace, but the guard stops him and threatens him that he will kill him if he thinks of returning again. The bully is forced to return and doesn't know what to do because he needs the pills and doesn't know that they are with the cowardly young man who always mocks him and says that he is weak. At that moment, the girl arrives with the child, and her lover is happy when he sees her. He is relieved that she is still alive. The guards enter and congratulate the contestants who won. They inform them that 25 players succeeded and are still alive and show the prize money, which is worth $42 billion. They ask them to choose whether they want to continue the game or withdraw with the money. At that moment, we see the game owners sitting together, and they are now wearing animal masks on their faces to represent their true personalities. They are happy because it is the first time they enjoyed the game like this in a long time because they participated in it. They keep competing with each other, and each one tells the other what he did, and they talk about the contestants as if they were worthless animals. At the same time, Huang and his team are still looking for the island and decide to use a drone and control it remotely to see everything in the sea. Suddenly, he receives a call from the assistant who tells him that he was right and informs him that he asked the fisherman about the captain, and no one knows anything about him. Huang is surprised and begins to suspect him and decides to monitor him to make sure if he is a spy or innocent. We return to the contestants, and they start voting, and each one keeps choosing whether he wants to continue or withdraw. The old woman decides to choose that she doesn't want to continue because she doesn't want anyone else to die, as happened with her son, and she asks the other contestants to stop the game. She offers to give up her money and doesn't want her money. The most important thing is not to kill anyone else. She cries and tells them that she is not afraid for herself. I have lived a lot, but the child and her mother must live. Unfortunately, no one is convinced by her words, and they all refuse because they are greedy and want to increase the money again, and they choose to continue the game. When it's Guillen's turn, he refuses to vote like last time, but his vote is worthless, and the guards announce that the game will continue and ask them to sleep. The rich people watch and laugh at the old woman's words because for them, she is worthless. At that moment, the guards discover what happened in the operating room and learn that some guards died, but they think that the doctor was the one who did it because they didn't find his body. They think he stole the organs and escaped. After that, the old woman goes to offer her food to the child and her mother and asks them to eat well so she can breastfeed her daughter and take care of her. The girl keeps crying and apologizes to her because her son died because of her, but the old woman tells her that she is not guilty and asks her not to think of anything but the child. At that moment, the game manager returns to his room, but he finds Si-yeon waiting for him and threatens him with the weapon and asks him to allow her and the painter to leave the game safely. She tells him that if he doesn't do so, she will ruin the game, and the rich people will punish him. He is impressed by her intelligence and is forced to agree. After that, Huang sees an island and feels that he has been there before and asks the captain to approach it with the ship. And when he arrives, he remembers what happened to him when his brother hid him there, and he makes sure that it is the island where the games are. He informs his team, and they decide to search it when day breaks. At night, the old woman goes to check on the child. After that, she goes to talk to Gi-hun and tries to comfort him and asks him to forgive himself because he is not guilty, and tells him that the game owners are the cause of everything that is happening because her son was kind, but they turned him into a monster, and because of that, she had to finish him off. Gi-hun is surprised by her words and feels sorry for her because he feels her pain, but she asks him to help the child and her mother and tells him, "I trust you, and I am sure that you are here to save all of us." He is affected by her words but apologizes to her and tells her that he also, unfortunately, managed to turn into one of the monsters and finished off one of the players and has already turned into a criminal. The next morning, the guards wake up early to prepare for the new game, and Sion goes to breakfast and finds the boat key in her food to escape with it, and it was sent by the game manager as they agreed. After that, the guards enter the contestants with a coffin, and they are surprised who died, but they are surprised that the old woman is the one who died, and the child's mother keeps crying because she was the cause of her and her son's death. Gi-hun feels guilty because he refused to help her. At that moment, the assistant decides to go to the captain's house to search for him, and he keeps searching it, but he finds him photographed with the person who distributes the game cards, and he is surprised and makes sure that he is a spy and decides to warn Hwang, but suddenly the guard dog attacks him. It is a fierce dog and bites him on his arm. He keeps screaming in pain and is forced to hit it and finish it off, but when he leaves, he finds the police waiting for him because the neighbor in the house next to him called them and informed them that there was a break-in, and they arrest him. We return to the game. The guards ask the contestants to prepare to start the 5th game and take them with them. The mother feels tired and doesn't know what to do, and Gi-hun decides to fulfill the old woman's will and goes to help her and takes the child to protect her. The rich people watch and are happy, and each one bets on a contestant that he will stay alive, and they are excited for the new game. The mother keeps crying because she is worried about her daughter, but Gi-hun tells her that he also has a daughter like her and reassures her that he will protect her, even if he has to sacrifice himself and his life. He reaches the place of the new game and finds a long bridge in a high place with giant statues on both sides, and the guards inform them that it is a rope-jumping game, and they start the game, and the statues start moving the rope quickly. The contestants learn that they are required to keep jumping over the rope and move and jump over the obstacle in the middle and reach the other side. Gi-hun decides to help the mother and asks her to leave the child until they finish the game, and then they will return to her again. But the guard refuses and tells them that the child is also participating in the game, and if she stays here, unfortunately, she will be considered a loser. Gi-hun gets angry and tells him that the child is not guilty, but the guard threatens them to take her with them, or they will all die. The game countdown begins, and the mother asks Gi-hun to take the child with him because she is injured and cannot jump. We notice that the bully is scared and crying because he cannot live without the pills he was taking. He goes to the weak young man and shows him the necklace and tells him that he has the pills for a long time and threatens him that he will throw them from above. The bully gets scared and apologizes to him and begs him to return them to him again. But the young man throws them on the bridge and asks him to participate first, and the bully is forced to do so and keeps jumping until he reaches the necklace and is happy and decides to take the pill. But he's surprised that it's empty, and at that moment, time stops for him, so he cannot jump again. And because of that, the rope hits him, and boom, Sanalopa drop. After that, Gi-hun prepares and carries the child and promises her mother that he will take her to the other side and will return to help her. He stands on the bridge and begins to jump, and although it is difficult, he endures to save the child. He keeps doing so until he reaches the middle of the path, but there is a hole in the bridge, and he must jump over it. Everyone is nervous and on edge and doesn't know how to gather their courage or compose themselves because of the girl he is carrying and is nervous. And everyone is scared and waiting for the right moment. And indeed, he manages to cross and continues his way until he reaches the end. And everyone is impressed by his skills and encourages them to do the same, because as long as he succeeded while carrying the child, they too can succeed like him. Gi-hun decides to leave the child to go help her mother, but he finds the contestants on the bridge, which means that he will not be able to meet them and will wait until they pass. And indeed, one of them manages to reach and pretends to help the rest, but he turns out to be a traitor, and anyone who approaches him pushes him and makes him fall to get rid of him and win the prize alone and divide it between him and Gi-hun. Our hero is surprised by his behavior and asks him why he is doing that, but he tells him that if they all die, only he and you will remain. And then, we will choose to withdraw from the game, and the money will be divided equally between us, and we will be rich. He keeps laughing hard, and anyone who comes close to reaching the end pushes him and finishes him off. The contestants are scared of him and keep jumping in their place and don't know what to do. They are all standing on the bridge for a long time, and because of that, a large number of them started falling one after another. One tries to go back, but he bumps into the one behind him, so both of them fall, and a girl manages to go back and is scared and doesn't know what to do, but one of the contestants pushes her and makes her fall, and thus anyone who tries to reach or go back will be in danger. Gi-hun is forced to intervene and threatens the contestant to let them pass, or he will push him. He gets scared and listens to him. The contestants standing on the bridge begin to reach the other side before time runs out, and the child's mother tries to prepare and doesn't have anything left. She keeps practicing jumping but falls because she is injured in her leg. Her lover goes to her and tells her that he will help her, but she refuses and blames him for killing the strong girl, and tells him that she saved her life and shows him her leg and informs him that she is injured and asks him if he is willing to carry her. Her lover is surprised because he cannot do that and cries and decides to abandon her and leaves. Gi-hun tries to go back to her, but one of the contestants attacks him and wanted to throw him off the bridge. But on whom? Our hero is handsome but clumsy when he strikes. He hits him hard, pushes him, and throws him from above. He asks the other contestants to pass, and indeed, they all do so. The weak young man is unconscious and imagines that the statues are talking to him, but he focuses and manages to pass. It's the girl's lover's turn, but one of the contestants falls in front of him. He asks him to help him, but he refuses and steps on his hand and keeps jumping until he reaches the end, and less than a minute is left. Gi-hun decides to go back to the mother, but she refuses and asks him not to do so because if he goes back to her, time will run out, and both of them will die. She tells him that she doesn't want anyone else to die because of her. She approaches the edge slowly, crying, and stands, and decides to fly. She doesn't want to be a burden on him, and it ends, and time ends, and thus the game ends, and Gi-hun is shocked by what happened, and feels helpless. The rich people are impressed by what happened, but they want to get rid of the child because her mother unfortunately died. But the game manager suggests to them to let her continue instead of her mother because that will increase the fun of the game. They are convinced by his words and agree. The guard goes to the contestants and congratulates them on winning the game and informs them that there are 9 players left, and the contestants are surprised that their number is 8. But he points to the child and tells them that she is a contestant with them and blames her for completing the game instead of her mother. At that moment, the contestants get angry because that means they will divide the money with her, and they wanted to finish her off. But Gi-hun hugs her to protect her, and the guard threatens them with the pistol and tells them that from now on, violence is not allowed in the final rounds, and anyone who causes trouble will be punished. At that moment, we see the assistant in the police station telling the police officer everything about the game and the gang after they arrested him. He learns that the captain is one of them and shows him his clothes, but the police officer doesn't believe him and thinks he is a thief and decides to call the captain to inform him that someone tried to rob his house. But the assistant snatches the phone from him and calls Huang to warn him and informs him that the captain is one of the game guards and asks him to be careful. And the captain is now planning to finish them off. Huang is surprised by what he heard and decides to arrest him, but unfortunately the captain is faster than him. He takes his weapon and finishes off the guard on the ship and leaves one of them alive. He approaches him and asks him about Huang's location, but the guard tells him that he is behind you. Suddenly Huang looks at him, hits him, and finishes him off and asks him, "Who are you? And what are you doing? And where is the island?" He asks him to confess everything before he dies. The captain tells him that he came to execute orders and says that the game manager asked me to save my life at any cost, and he warns him that even if he goes to the island, he will not be able to do anything because his guards died and he is alone. Before he tells him its location, he dies, and Huang is surprised and regrets that he didn't believe the assistant's words from the beginning. At that moment, the game manager invites the contestants to dinner and makes them wear suits and serves them a lot of food. Even the child, he makes the guard give her milk because she has reached the last game. They keep eating and drinking, and when they finish, the guard asks them to choose if they want to continue the game or withdraw with the money. But the most important thing you need to know before you withdraw or choose to continue the game is that in the next game, I will give you a hint. 3 of you will decide among yourselves who you want to get rid of. So now, all of them, greed blinds them. The 3 of them will be eliminated. They decide to form a party and will eliminate our hero, the child, and the crazy poor guy who is wandering in the world and doesn't understand what is happening. And of course, the contestants choose to continue, and because of that, the guard announces that the game will continue. At that moment, Sion takes the painter and gets on the boat. She knows that she will escape from the island, but the manager calls her and warns her to return, or he will finish off the painter's daughter who is in the hospital. He thinks they don't know information about them. She gets scared and is forced to return, but she gets off alone and tells the painter that his daughter is in danger. She asks him to leave without her. Go and save her. All this, and he doesn't know who she is. But, unfortunately, the game manager puts a tracking device on the boat and orders the guards to finish him off. After that, the contestants who chose to continue agree and cooperate with each other to get rid of Gi-hun and the child. And our hero is forced to stay awake all night to protect her. Suddenly, one of the guards enters him and informs him that the game manager wants to talk to him. He takes him to meet him, and there he tells him that he wants to help him and gives him a knife and asks him to finish off the contestants while they are asleep before they do so. Gi-hun is surprised and asks him why he is doing that. And the manager decides to take off his mask, and our hero is surprised when he sees him. He can't believe that he is contestant number 1, whom he thought was dead. He grabs the knife and wanted to stab him. His facial expressions changed immediately, but the manager tries to calm him down and tells him that even if he kills him, the game will not stop, and another one will come in his place. And he asks him to listen to him and finish off the contestants, or his life will be in danger. Gi-hun leaves him and goes to the contestants while they are asleep. He approaches them. At that moment, we see a flashback of the same scene, and that was when the game manager was a contestant like him. At that time, the old man offered him the same offer that he was just offering to our hero, which is to end the game. So now, our hero will make the same decision, and we will see if he will end the game or continue and be different. He keeps watching him and wants to see what decision he will make. He remembers his memories, and at that time, it was the same situation, but at that time, he was the one who decided to finish them off, and he wants Gi-hun to also turn into a criminal like him. But our hero at that time imagines his dead friends in front of him and asks him not to do so because he is not a criminal. And indeed, he goes back on his word and cries and throws the knife. At the same time, the game manager looks at him regretting that he didn't turn into a criminal like him and regretting that he himself turned into a criminal and didn't do the same as our hero did. At that moment, Sion climbs the mountain until she reaches the ventilation opening and enters and keeps walking in it. And it seems that she's planning something dangerous. On the other side, Huang is close to reaching the island, but suddenly he hears the manager's voice on the walkie-talkie asking him not to do so because he is exposing his life to danger. After that, he returns to the control room, but he finds Sion waiting for him and threatens him with the weapon and tells him to listen to her and forces him to delete the painter's records from the game, all to protect him so that none of the rich people can reach him. And indeed, he does so. But he tells her that there is still another copy of the files in a secret place, which are paper files, and she is forced to go with him to take them. But when he takes the elevator, he attacks her and tries to take the weapon from her, and they keep fighting with each other. She tries to hit him, but he is strong. He manages to block all her attacks, throws her to the ground, and breaks her bones. He approaches her to kill her, but she hits him. She attacks him and tries to stab him, but he uses a cup and defends himself. He begins to show charisma. He leaves her lying on the ground and goes to drink and tells her, I feel you. Why, I also lost a dear person. He approaches her and stabs her in the stomach, and suddenly he receives a call on the wire from the guard asking him that he must start the last game. He tells him, "Start." He sees Si-yeon crawling on the ground and laughs at her because she can't open the elevator, but the poor guy is surprised that she has his mask, and he runs to her, but she manages to reach the elevator before him. She takes the weapon and shoots him, and at that moment, he dies because he underestimated her. The contestants, dear viewer, were also with the guards to start the last game. They ride an old-looking elevator, and the whole world around them is rocks and high mountains. And they will go up one of them. They inform them that the last game is called Heavenly Squid, and they explain to them that it consists of 3 stages, each stage in a different place, and the first round is in the square shape. They are required to push one of them to reach the next stage. And of course, whoever falls will lose and die. The game begins, and they have 15 minutes, and to start, they must press the button that will appear on the ground. Unfortunately, they all agree on Gi-hun because he is carrying the child, and they approach him, laughing, but they go back on their word, because if they do so, they will get rid of 2. So the party they formed will have to sacrifice one of them. So they decide to push the weak, poor young man who is lost in the world. But they all get scared, and no one dares to approach him because he might pull someone with him, and then 2 will fall. But the child's father uses his intelligence. There is a pole next to them, and he decides to push it. It comes into his hand, and indeed, he takes it and approaches with it. He does so, and finishes him off. At the same time, this young man imagines all his dead friends in front of him. They are waiting for him, and he goes to them in the lobby, dear viewer. And thus, they finish the first round and qualified for the second stage. They all pass and reach the second stone, which is in the shape of a triangle, and they all agree that they will get rid of the child because she has no one, and they ask Gi-hun to hand her over to them, and he closes his eyes and doesn't care about what will happen. Her mother died, and no one knows who her father is. Of course, dear viewer, you and I know, but it was hidden so that none of them would know. But he refuses because he is a mother and protects her and keeps hugging her. At that moment, we see the painter on the boat. The guards start chasing him and shooting at him. He tries to defend himself, but his ammunition runs out. He loses hope and feels that his end is near. But suddenly Hwang arrives at the right time and shoots the guards and finishes them off and saves his life, and also informs him of the island's location. We return to the contestant, and he decides to take the child by force, and one of them tries to snatch her from him. But Gi-hun uses the knife he took from the manager and wounds him and threatens him that if he comes near him, he will finish him off. Suddenly, the child's father comes from behind him and pushes the second contestant and makes him fall. He betrays him and tells our hero that he is on his side and that he is the child's father. At that moment, everyone understands what he was doing. Everyone is surprised by what happened because they didn't know that he was her father, and he decides to side with Gi-hun and protect her. The other contestants are scared because they have weapons, and they attack them, and a big fight breaks out between them. Our hero is forced to protect the child and hits one of them, and at the same time, the child's father pushes one and makes him fall, and 2 are left. The greedy contestant tries to deceive them and tells them that he will divide the money with them, and there is one lying on the ground. Let him be a sacrifice for us. But the child's father refuses because he doesn't trust him and pushes him too and throws him, and time runs out, and the round ends, and they qualify for the final stage. They decide to leave a contestant to sacrifice him, but he decides to tell them, "Are you crazy or what? Do you think I don't know what you are planning to do? No, I'll let you decide that among yourselves. No one comes near me. Goodbye." That's it, dear viewer. And thus, only the 2 of them and the child are left, which means that one of them in the third round must die. At that moment, Hwang succeeds in saving the painter and treats his injury and learns that he was participating in the game. The painter tells him everything he wants, and Huang decides to go to stop the game and save Gi-hun, but unfortunately, they have already reached the last stage and they cross the child to the other side first. But he holds the pole and prevents Gi-hun from crossing the bridge and tells him to hand over the child, or he will push both of them. Oh, the game has become destruction now. One of the three is supposed to live, and the most important thing is the button. Focus, dear viewer, to start the countdown, and whoever goes among them will win. We will find out now. Huang learns that he did this to sacrifice her in the last stage and win all the money alone. The child's father is not willing to let him pass and asks him to leave the child and go back. He begins to do so, but as he returns, he manages to take his knife. He pretends to surrender and leaves it on the bridge. But before time runs out and the bridge disappears, he jumps and crosses to the other side. The player is playing gymnastics or what? He grabs the knife and decides to kill him. They start fighting with each other. The young man tries to hit him, but Gi-hun is stronger than him. He dodges his attacks, pushes him, makes the pole fall from him, hits him, and breaks his bones. He tells the young man that he will lose the fight and grabs the child and tells him to move away. Or as you know, I'll tell you to move away immediately. Gi-hun starts to go back. He throws the knife and tells him, "Calm down, let's talk." But Gi-hun has experience in fighting and takes off his jacket immediately to protect himself with it. Before he takes the knife, what he feared happened. Suddenly, both of them stumble and were about to fall. Oh, he fell, dear viewer. But Gi-hun managed to grab a rock and hold on to it and tried to pull the young man, but his hand slipped, and unfortunately, boom, Santalopa drop. He dies, and our hero manages to climb again and goes up, and the rich people watch from afar, happy and impressed by his determination and persistence. At that moment, Huang reaches the island, but he is late, and we learn that Si-yeon burned all the contestants' files because she knew that this place was a source of bodies, and many contestants entered here before, and she decided to erase all their past so that they could rest in peace. She is sad and decides to finish herself off, but she sees Gi-hun on the screen carrying the child and thinks he is going to fly with her to win the game. But dear viewer, I don't want to shock you. He didn't press the button, which means they didn't activate the last stage, and one of them, the child, must fly. He activates the button, hugs her, bids her farewell, and is happy that he managed to fulfill her mother's will. He starts talking to them and looks at them, and although he doesn't see them, he tells them, "We are not entertainment tools. We are human beings like you." Unfortunately, the world starts to darken from here. Everyone is surprised by what happened. It's the first time anyone could reach this stage and give up everything. The game ends, and the guards learn that the police are close to reaching the island, and they decide to destroy everything and escape. But the game manager is still there, and decides to go and take the child who won. The child who was born in the middle of the chaos that happened and managed to win, even though she doesn't know anything. At the same time, Huang manages to reach the island and also reaches his brother. He sees him through the glass and breaks it. He tries to stop him, but he can't do anything and knows that the place is no longer safe, and he also decides to escape. The guards get on the ship and cars and escape from the island. After that, they activate the detonation device and destroy the place. 6 months pass on that day, and we learn that Si-yeon decided to live after seeing Gi-hun sacrifice himself, and she returns to the amusement park, the place where she was working, and sees the painter and makes him paint her too, and he feels that he knows her, but she refuses to tell him that she was the one who saved him, and that she is the reason for his existence with his daughter. She sees his young daughter after she had the surgery, recovered, and is well, and she is happy and gives her sweets. She leaves them and walks away, but suddenly she receives a call from the person she asked to look for her daughter. Yes, the one she entered the game for, the one she thought was dead and had no one left in her life. So she decided to participate, but it turned out that her daughter is still alive and in China. She is surprised and decides to go look for her. After that, Wing goes to wait for the assistant after he was released from prison. we learn that he resigned from the police and returns home and finds the child with the game card, and it is written on it that she won. And next to the card is a visa with all the billions. And he learns that his brother sent it to him to raise the girl, and she has 45 billion. After that, the assistant goes to the place where Gi-hun hid the money, but he is surprised that it disappeared, and he is surprised and doesn't know who took it, and it turns out that the game manager took them and travels to America and goes to Gi-hun's daughter. He tells her that her father unfortunately sent her this box. She tells him that she doesn't want anything from him and that she has been waiting for his call for a while and he didn't send her anything. He tells her, "Wait, unfortunately, your father passed away and I am here to give you his last possessions." At that moment, she stands shocked. He decides to give her the box and leaves. She enters, not comprehending anything. She opens the box and finds her father's suit, his number, and the visa with all his possessions. He leaves her and walks away, but on the way, he sees a woman playing with cards. Yes, dear viewer, Squid Game, but the American version. She looks at him and smiles, which means that the game is still going on, but this time in America, and the series ends there. Is this the end, or is there another part? If you liked it and want us to make it when it's released, let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe, my dearest siblings, because if you are new and seeing me for the first time or have seen me and haven't subscribed, it's a shame on you. Good evening to you.